Good morning, my name is Sean, and in this presentation I will be discussing my essay question, how can the formal study of theology constructively help the church? In introducing my argument, I'll be making the point that the formal study of theology is vital to the church in that it leads to a practical application of theology. So I'll be considering the following points in this argument: that the formal study of theology equips pastors to teach and lead their church. It helps build strong leaders, and I'll also have a look in this point at what is formal theology, what's it made up of, such as Old and New Testament studies, systematic theology, historical theology, apologetics. Just so we have an understanding that what formal theology actually is, and that it's done in an academic situation. And once pastors have a solid understanding of formal theology, they can help teach the church, which then leads to a practical application. And this knowledge is relational, so it builds relationships within the church, and it helps teach context as well. The next point I'll be making is that the formal study of theology gives the church an understanding of its identity and understanding God's will for his church. So in knowing this church identity and individual identity, it helps the church mature, and also gives the church an action that, as Jesus put it, lets it go. The formal study of theology is constructive in that it helps the church connect with a wider community around it. Theology must move the church into action. And what does this action entail? We'll talk a little bit about that, maybe give some examples of the action. And I'll be looking at some resources that back this up and some examples that back this up. And the formal study of theology also gives the church guidance in how to respond in a changing world. And I think, especially now when we're looking at coronavirus, the impact that it has on community, knowing and understanding our theology, knowing and understanding how things were done in the past biblically, gives us a way forward and gives us a way to connect and interact with a world that's quite often fearful and confused. As I go through each point in this essay, I will be providing resources and examples and study that backs up my argument, and I will also be drawing a conclusion at the end. And my conclusion is that the formal study of theology just lends to a really good biblical understanding, and it also leads to a practical output that constructively helps the church.